What's up, boys and girls? We are on Chapter 10, Lesson 3. Two types of lines, parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Okay? The way that I remember the word parallel and what it means is by these two L's in the word parallel. Those two L's are parallel lines, aren't they? So I remember parallel is two lines that are beside one another and the same distance apart always by those two L's in parallel. They're parallel lines. So just a little fun fact from Mrs. Olvey. All right, so the first one is of course done for you. So we're going to pop down here to number 2. Name a pair of lines that appear to be parallel. Oh, well, there's that word, parallel. Now, the reason they say appear to be is because it's not like we can measure them, but we can look at this figure and we can see sets of lines that are parallel, right, boys and girls? Okay, so I'm looking for two lines that are the same distance apart all the way, and I can see that this line and this line, right? Do they appear to be the same distance apart from here to here to here to here? And that those lines will go on forever and ever and ever and never ever intersect one another, right? So I'm going to go with that line and that line. Okay, so how are we going to label this line? That is line A, B, and of course you need to put the correct symbol on the top for line. It's not a line segment. They're asking for lines, right? So A, B, and now let's label this line, or let's name this line correctly. C, D, right? C, D, and we draw the line above that. Okay? Boop, boop. I'm using a different pen today, and it's kind of going cuckoo. There we go. Okay, number 3. Name another pair of lines that appear to be perpendicular. Now, they're saying another pair because they don't want you to name the ones that were already named in number 1. So we cannot use A, B, E, F. We can't use line A, B, E, F. Okay? Because those are definitely perpendicular. We need to find different perpendicular lines. Okay? Another pair. Now, the word perpendicular is two lines. It means two lines that intersect to form a right angle. Okay? It can even look like that. And they can be two line segments can be perpendicular too. So you see all these symbols, right, for right angle. So let's see. Line CD, again, is perpendicular. Oh, look, this line's going to be the same as number 1, and that's okay. So line CD, we'll label that line, is perpendicular to line. Here's the symbol for perpendicular to. Isn't that cool? Is perpendicular to line EF. Okay, you could have also just written the word and right there. CD and line EF are perpendicular. All right, good work. Okay, so now the directions here for number 5 and 6, I cut them off, but it says draw and label the figure described. Draw and label the figure described. All right, so number 5, I have line, see, line WX and line YZ. And what does this symbol say about those two? That they are parallel, okay? So parallel means that they are the same distance apart. And you know what? We're not going to obviously be able to do it perfectly by drawing it ourselves, but we can do the best we can. So this is going to be line WX. And this is going to be line Y, Z. Okay, do they look like they're about the same distance apart and that they will never, ever, ever, ever intersect one another? Yeah, pretty good, right? All right, let's jump over here to number 6. And now number 6, oh, there's that symbol that I just used on the last page. That symbol means perpendicular to. And if you look at it, you're making basically two right angles with those perpendicular lines, right? So the symbol is the little perpendicular guy right there. So we have to make line FH perpendicular to line JK. Okay, so now we're just going to do our best. Okay, not bad, right? So line FH is perpendicular to, meaning it creates a right angle with line JK. What do you think, guys? Yeah, you got this. This is awesome. All right, let's go down to the bottom of the page. It says, use the street map for 7 through 8. So I just have 7 on here, though. Number 7 says, name 2 streets that intersect but do not appear to be perpendicular. 2 streets that intersect. So when lines intersect, it means that they cross one another. So there's an intersection. Okay, there's an intersection. There's an intersection. Okay, it's where lines cross one another, or where they touch one another. You can even say that that is an intersection. Okay, so 2 streets that intersect but do not appear to be perpendicular. All right, so we have to find 2 streets that cross one another, intersect, but do not create a right angle. So I'm looking at the map right here. So look at these. These appear to create right angles, right, guys? So let's not do those intersections. I'm going to go right here. Oak Street or Oak whatever and Birch, they intersect right there. But do you see a right angle anywhere? That's an obtuse angle. That's an obtuse angle. Acute and acute. So those 2 streets intersect but do not create a right angle. So those 2 streets are not perpendicular. So we're going to go with Birch and Oak. And you also could have gone up here. So if you wanted to do that one, you could go with Maple and Oak also. All right. Flipping the paper over. This is your lesson check. Which capital letter appears to have perpendicular line segments? So you have to look at each of these letters perpendicular to lines that create a right angle when they intersect. Perpendicular, right? Perpendicular. Okay, so let's look at each of these letters. We want to find one that does make right angles or is perpendicular. So look at N. Let me do N over here. If I like put a piece of paper up there, not a right angle. Not a right angle. Those are acute. Sorry, N. How about O? Really, O? You're all curves. You don't have any angles at all. Okay, now we have T. Let me put T. Do you see any any right angles to make these perpendicular lines? I do. And you know what? T is actually the symbol for perpendicular, but just upside down. So T is definitely correct. And then V, boys and girls, you know what? It's almost perpendicular. I guess you could make a V, but this V, that is an acute angle. Right, guys? That's not a right angle. That's not even a right angle. Okay? All right, let's go down to review now, guys. Number 4, and this has to do with lesson 6 in chapter 6. Mike drank more than half the juice in his glass. What fraction of the juice could Mike have drunk? Mike drank more than half the juice in his glass. What fraction could Mike have drunk? Okay, so which of these fractions is greater than half or more than half? So 1/3, let's say we have a glass, 1 out of 3 equal parts, that's right there. Well, that doesn't look like more than half, does it? 2/5. Doodaloo. Does that look like more than half? No, definitely not. Now let's look at 3/6. What do you know about 3 and 6? 3 is half of 6. So 3/6 is equivalent to half. It is half. So it can't be 3/6 because it said more than half, not half. All right, so 5/8. Let's see. You know what I know about 8? I know that 4 is half of 8. So if I have 5 out of 8, that means that I have greater than half a glass. Okay, that would be right about there. It's not much more than half, but it's more. All right, so 5/8 is more than half. Beautiful.